All right, welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. Today we're going to talk all about flour and wheat and how to make your own at home. Making our own flour at home has been something that we have done for many years here at the SSL Family Farm or Homestead. We've made our own bread and pie crusts and biscuits and all kinds of other things, pancakes and things like that. And so we use it quite fairly often. We don't use it every day, but it certainly is something that we find handy to have here. This is especially great for an emergency storage type of food. Wheat berries, wheat in their natural form, store for very, very long periods of time. Most of the emergency buckets you can get of wheat berries, that are 25-year shelf life, and so you can store them for an enormous amount of time, and then make little bits at a time when you intend to use it as flour. So today I'm going to take you through the basics. We're going to talk a little bit about the product that we start with, and then how to turn it into flour, and just some of the general ideas of how that all works and what you need to know to get started. If you want more information, we partnered with a company many years ago called Breadtopia, and you can check out their website. They have all kinds of tutorials and how-tos and information on things and all the products and things like that you'd need to make your own bread and mill your own flour. So they're the super experts, but I'm going to tell you what you need to get started. So let's start with the raw ingredient, the wheat that we are going to need. There's a few different varieties out there. Show you where we get it and tell you a little bit about the different varieties and what they mean to you. So in general, you're going to notice a couple different types of wheat out there. There's the hard varieties, there's the soft varieties, there's the red varieties, and there's the white varieties. There's also spring, and there's also winter, or I guess they're not labeled if they're winter. That all can affect taste, whether they're spring or winter wheat, and also whether they're white or red. The soft and hard has to do with gluten content. So let's start at the beginning here. The hard red spring wheat here, this is the highest protein content. This also has, it's a little bit of a different color. I don't know if I'm going to show you here. You can barely tell the difference, and once you mill this, of course, you really can't tell the difference at all. But this is what the wheat berries look like. This is the red spring, hard red spring. And this has, again, the highest protein content, which in turn is the highest gluten content. It also has a little bit of a bitter flavor, so this is great for artisan type breads, your baguettes and French breads and things like that. And it is kind of an acquired taste. A lot of times I'll mix some of this with some of the soft white or the hard white to just change the flavor up a little bit. But this stuff is good for those artisan type breads. And then you have the hard white. So the hard white also has a higher protein content. This is great for the same kinds of products, I guess, the same kind of end results. Your hard baguettes and artisan breads and things like that. But this has a little bit of a more mild flavor to it, which most people kind of prefer. So you can mix these two together. A lot of times you can find recipes that will have half and half, or a third and 2/3, and you can kind of mix it up like that, or you can just go all for one or all for the other and see how you like it. And then you have the one that we probably use most common, which is our soft white. The soft white, this is kind of the lightest color, and I'll see if you can see the difference between this and the red. So with the red on the left there, and then the white on the right, you can kind of see the difference in the color. But the difference in cooking, this is great for your pie crusts and muffins and pancakes and all that kind of stuff that doesn't require that high of a gluten content. Protein content's a little bit lower too. All these are nutritionally similar. Again, the higher protein in these, but all of them are good for you. The way that we mill this flour, we'll show you next. You actually get the most healthy end product, no matter which ones you're using here. Much more healthy than anything you're going to get at the store, prepackaged in a general use flour, multi-use flour. So if you're looking at just getting started with like artisan breads and things like that, I would probably hold off on the hard red and stick with getting maybe a bag of each of these. This will get you started, and it will give you kind of all your uses. You can use this for more artisan type stuff. And then you can use this for your more everyday type stuff, white breads and things like that. So So this is kind of the, getting one of each of these is a great place to start. If you can only get one, I would go with the soft white wheat to start. It just is the easiest and most general purpose type of wheat. So once you have your wheat berries, you need to turn this into flour that is usable. And so I'll show you a couple different ways to do that and how we prefer to do it here. So there's lots of different ways to mill your flour. The first is I'm going to show you probably one of the most common mechanized way to do that, and that is with a KitchenAid mixer with the grain mill attachment. This has been a champ. This has worked very well for us, and this is kind of a common thing that a lot of people have. If you're going to be milling, though, I would recommend that you have one of the professional level of KitchenAids. You just want to make sure that you're not overworking your machine, burning it up or something like that using the grain mill, because it does work it pretty hard. So this, all the KitchenAid mixers have a attachment port on the front, and that just gets put in there. And then you can see the different settings here. So here's your selector. This is your finest grind, and then all the way around to your coarsest grind. Now you can put this through here twice if you'd like, but generally we just run it through pretty close to the finest setting here, one of these. So we'll actually run a batch through here. I'll show you how well this works. All you do is just add your wheat berries to the top here. Obviously fire it up first, and then the finished flour will come right out the bottom here. So we just need to get a container underneath it. So what you end up with is what would be considered a whole wheat. This is everything. This is all parts of the wheat berry ground together here. This is the full nutrition of the wheat. So this is the healthiest flour, in my opinion anyway, that you can get, that you can cook with, and that you can use. So the KitchenAid mill there does a really good job of making a nice fine flour that you could use for anything. So this is about 1.5 cups that we milled, and it only takes maybe 30 seconds per half cup or less to mill through that. So this is what you end up with. Now this was the soft white wheat berries. The color, honestly, between any of the wheat berries that you use is just about the same. So you're gonna end up with just about the same color no matter what. So that is the KitchenAid grain mill. Of course, this works really well if you have a KitchenAid mixer. If you don't have a KitchenAid mixer, of course, you may want to look at other options, which I'll talk about here in just a moment. But if you do have a mixer, this attachment can be found, again, on Amazon. I'll put a link over to that in the description. And you can purchase that, pop it in there, and you're ready to make your own flour. Now, if you don't have that and you want to look at other options, I'll show you the cheap option at the end that I'll talk about. But this is another option. This is a standalone grain mill. This is a mock mill. There are several different models and varieties out there. This one here is available at that Breadtopia website. So this has the same kind of functions. You're going to set your mill size. So this sets the millstone inside there at whatever gap you want. So the 1 is the finest, 10 is the thickest if you want a coarser flour. And so we'll set this on the finest again here just to kind of compare the two, and we'll run a batch through here. Now I will also say too, it's a good idea to run dry rice, just regular rice, through these kind of first. It helps to clean it out, and then you just discard that, and then you run your wheat berries through. I just happen to be out of rice, so I don't have that option. With that being said, you also can use either one of these to make other kinds of flour. So you can make rice flour if you want, and you can combine rice flour into wheat flour and make, all kinds of good things with that. And you can make all kinds of other flours out of other dry goods and things. So these mills can be used for more than just wheat berries. So this actually gives you a little bit of a finer flour. The spoon there is from the KitchenAid grain mill, and then everything in the bowl is from this grain mill. So it's pretty darn close to the same, but I think the Mock mill does a little better job. It's a little bit of a finer grind, which is nice, but really doesn't make that much of a difference. So this one here is probably going to be the quicker. This one did it about twice as fast as the KitchenAid, and it also is going to be probably the longer lasting quality. So it is a little more expensive though, because obviously you have to, the motor and everything is included, where if you have the KitchenAid already, you already own the motor for it. So with either one of these, you can very easily, very quickly keep this on your countertop. Throw your wheat berries in there, make the flour that you need for whatever recipe you're about to make, and you can make it kind of on demand. You don't want to make it all ahead of time, because this does actually go bad. It does not last. The shelf life is not as long as your bleached white flours that you're going to get in the bag, the all-purpose flours. This stuff does go bad quicker, and so you want to use it right away, or store it in the refrigerator and use it as quickly as possible. So with either one of these grain mills, you can make an excellent flour. But what if you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money getting into making flour? What other options are there? There are lots of other options. There are lots of very inexpensive beginner ways to grind flour. There are cheaper grain mills out there, certainly not as high quality, certainly not as nice, but certainly entry-level ones that are electric that you can use. There are also a lot of hand mill options. There are a lot of manual grinders out there. I'll put a link in the description to an option on Amazon, as always, that you can check out, and if you're looking to just try this out and see how you like it before you spend the big bucks on one of the two electric grinders here, you can do that as well. So what's the point? Why should you do this? What's better? Why not just go buy your all-purpose flour off the shelf at Walmart and bake and very easily, right? Why not just do that? Well, there's two kind of, I guess, main advantages to milling your own flour. Number one, I talked about briefly at the beginning, emergency storage type of planning or type of idea. So you can purchase these. I've had these for quite a while. These will store for a long time, just right in these burlap sacks. Or you can get the storage buckets, the sealed buckets, and that'll last for 25 years. So you can actually have a good chunk of food storage. You can make a lot of food with this that's actually fairly nutritious for you. You can store that and use that as emergency food storage, backup food storage, and it stores well and does great for that. So that's one good reason. The other is going to be just nutrition. This is the healthiest flour you can get. Now there's a lot of bad press out there from gluten and other things, and so people are, a lot of people steer away from gluten completely, and it really is how you use the wheat flour and how you cook with it. And so there's lots of ways to have a healthy glutens that are actually processed with yeast, sourdoughs, and other types of things. There's all kinds of stuff out there. Again, check out that Breadtopia site. They're the experts on all that. They know all that better than I do. But this is by far the healthiest way to eat wheat, to eat all of your breads, all your bread products. You can make so much. We make our own flour tortillas. We make our own bread. We have a automatic bread maker we use all the time to just make our own breads. You can make artisan breads in the oven. You can do so much with wheat and flour, and so it's a very versatile product, which is why it's been around for thousands of years as a main source of food for people. It stores well, and you can use it for a lot of things. And so when you grind your own at home, it's the healthiest that you can possibly get. So how do you cook with this is a question that might come up. Do you just use it just the same as regular flour? Well, it just depends. I have done that in the past. I have substituted this for regular all-purpose flour in just about any recipe. You do have to play with it a little bit. Sometimes things come out just a little bit differently, and so you may have to add a little extra flour, may have to add a little extra yeast and other things like that. You can look up whole wheat recipes and use those. And if you don't like the taste of the whole wheat, again, try the soft white wheat berries. That has probably the best taste out of all of them, as far as the most similar to a regular off-the-shelf flour. And then the other thing you can do is cut this, so you can mill 50% your own flour, whole wheat flour like this, and then you can cut it in with regular off-the-shelf, multi-purpose or regular white flour. So you can do that too, and that works well in a lot of recipes. Don't forget to hit thumbs up on today's video, and of course subscribe if this is your first time here. We'd love to have you tag along. The SSL Family Dad channel is all about homesteading and doing things yourself, living sustainably and close to the earth, and living a Christ-centered life is all part of it. So we'd love to have you subscribe and tag along. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.